Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. We are here in Bristol at the wonderful Hangar 61, and we've finally got Steve Brand. Steve, I think you've been avoiding me for about 6 months. How's things?
I wouldn't say avoiding you, mate. No, I've been really, really busy. Sort of here, there and everywhere. But no, it's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, look, obviously the darts calendar, full stop, whether it's the elite or the juniors, is just absolutely ridiculous now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible now. It said we don't get a spare weekend now. Obviously, Rob is sat over there in the corner, beavering away on the laptop there. Yeah, there's not a weekend off anymore. So but long may it continue.
Yeah, look, we'll touch on the growth of junior darts, and don't get me wrong, darts was already on this great trajectory. But 2 years ago, when Luke did what he did, are you still seeing this rise because of it?
Yeah, it's emphasised, as turbocharged what we were already doing. I mean, the JDC was been a great place before that, but absolutely turbocharged the industry. I think not just the junior darts, but I think everyone's, a high tide floats all boats, as they say. So I think we're all seeing the benefits of it.
Oh yeah, look, massively, and look, the growth. This is to come. We're here. We'll talk about the opening here, but the fact there are designated academies that not just one board and two boards like they used to be, multi 15, 16 boards, streaming, everything. It's a great time. The juniors have never got more exposure, have they?
No, and I think what we're seeing now is a trend of sort of cricket clubs, football clubs, rugby clubs opening academies, and typically they'd be open maybe 1 or 2 days a week. Now they're having darts academies and they're getting filled up, and these clubs are now opening 3 or 4 times a week, which is helping them prosper, I suppose. So we've definitely seen a shift from sort of being played in maybe function rooms and bars to recreational sports clubs.
Look, I suppose the negative of all this, it's almost like darts is turning into football, where we see some pushy parents seeing this as a very good opportunity for their kids to become stars and become very rich from it. We see what the elite are earning, and we saw that in football back in the day when they would go everywhere to do that. Have we got to be careful that we don't oversaturate it and push kids too much and put too much pressure on them too soon?
I think that's going to happen naturally. I think what you're going to see on your TV screens over the next decade and more is the players that are represented on TV are a bit younger and younger. So it's naturally going to attract younger kids to play the game as well. So I don't see it going anywhere. I don't think we can control it. I think we can sort of nurture it and sort of guide people in the best way possible. But it's not going to go anywhere. And I think that pressure is just going to increase because, just due to the popularity. And I think there's just a bit of a grab at the moment for junior darts, and as I'm sure you're going to ask me in a minute. But I just think there's so much emphasis on junior darts at the moment, so it's just going to get more and more saturated. Well,
I've got 2 points on that. First of all, I'll do the pressure one. That I've never seen so much dartitis or anxiety or trying to throw. Is that because of the pressure that perhaps kids are putting on themselves? Like I said, I've never seen so many juniors that take to their own social media, say we're struggling, or we see them on a stream, whether they're playing in a vault, a local league, or whatever. Is that pressure perhaps too much, and is that causing it?
I think because of the success Luke Littler had at such a young age, I think kids are almost sort of putting time frames on themselves, and they think they should be achieving this by this date, or I'm nowhere near as good as Luke was when he was 15. I think they're putting pressure on themselves more than anything, and what's really important is everybody has to realise you're running your own race. And you get some kids are great at 12 and then rubbish at 14. But it's just, you're running your own race. Don't compare yourself to anybody else's standards or hitting sort of averages at certain times of their career. Just run your own race and concentrate on yourself and never judge yourself by anybody else's standards.
Well, you make a really good point there. Look, Luke is a generational talent. This isn't just a normal dart player we're trying to compare kids to. If people got to remember that this is, or Luke is already going to go down as one of the greatest to ever throw a dart. So people got to realise that, hang on a minute, I'm not Luke Littler, and I may not, if I'm a 10th as good as him, I'm going to have a good career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's a generational talent. But what I think is going to happen over the next 10 years, I think dart players will end up having a shorter dart career than footballers. Because I think that the conveyor belt's going to keep coming, and the JDC are going to keep pushing all these players forward. And I think the average age of a player is going to keep falling and falling. But the standard and the strength and depth is going to be that good that a good dart player, but you might be able to earn a great amount of money in a 3 or 4 year career, if you like. But there's going to be so much, I think there's going to be a big gap or a big vacuum for players. The talent field in the next 10 years is going to be so vast. And there's only 128 seats at the top table at the PDC. So I think there's going to be a big vacuum of talent that can't get into the PDC.
An interesting bit that you've thrown up there, perhaps we're going to have to go above 128 then, with this surgeon wave of players that are coming through. Like we say, academies opening all over the place, JDC record numbers, and people now participating. Will there be a point where perhaps that 128 will have to increase?
If I was on the board of the PDC, I'd certainly be considering it, because otherwise you're going to force maybe a breakaway entity, and because there'd be so much talent available, and the talent field's going to be so strong strength and depth for that the field, that potentially you could have 500 players that are worthy of playing on TV.
Does that also come then perhaps with you working with other people to, not everyone can be a professional, and we understand that. However, the avenues now to play darts outside the PDC has never been as broad or as good. We've still got obviously the WDF with Lakeside. We've got the Moda Super Series, the ADC. Is that an important thing now for juniors, not to just having to think, I have to play PDC, that these other organisations, you can still earn a very good living and have a career without going down that route?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the kids now, everybody wants to play on the PDC, don't they? That's holy grail. But again, as a career choice, I mean, if you shoot for the moon and you miss, and you end up in the sky somewhere, then you still can earn a good living. So I think, it's really encouraging, the fact that you haven't got to be a top pro anymore to earn a living out of the game.
You mentioned it a while ago, the grab for junior darts. Now, obviously, look, the JDC's been around for
15 years.
I was about to say nearly 2 decades, but yeah. Now, every week we see a new academy opening up. We see, obviously, Target have launched, I can't remember the name, is it a Super Series or something that they're doing for their academies and so on. Are we getting into a dangerous territory where people are making a grab for junior darts for financial gain, or is this a good thing for the sport that people want to invest so much in junior darts?
It's an interesting question, and I know why you asked it, but I think for us, I mean, we're in our own lane. We sort of take the high road on this. We've been doing it 15 years. Our partners, Wimmel, have been backing, grassroots darts for over 40 years. So, we kind of we've earned our spots, if you like. So underneath that, there is a bit of a grab going on, and I don't like it, if I'm honest. I think these companies are employing people to try and poach academies and stuff. But I don't particularly like it very much. There's nothing I could do about it. But I just, I wish it was different, but it's not, and it is happening, yeah.
Does this almost come under the issue that the fact the sport hasn't got a governing body? And I say this at the top as well, that the PDC are effectively a promotional company, and they say that. The fact that the sport of darts doesn't have a functioning governing body then?
I'd say that the Junior Darts Corporation is the authority in junior darts. I think we've earned that right. We're the only legitimate pathway from your local academy to the PDC stage. We've got we've got a full-time team. We've got 15 employees now. So there's no one in our league, if you like, in terms of being an authority on it. I think people see us as that. So, but again, we can't police it or govern what people do. What I do find quite sad is we've worked really hard with the EDO. Well, it's not sad actually. We should be celebrating the fact that we've got this relationship now with the EDO, which in the UK it was us and them. We were always in our own. We only ever concentrated on what we wanted to do, but there was this kind of rivalry going on in the background, I guess, on social media and stuff. But the fact we put our differences together to one side, and we pushed on for the benefit of darts. So there's no kids don't have to choose anymore or feel guilty about playing in one organisation or the other. Where I do see a problem is after all that hard work, it will be manufacturers that drive any kind of wedge between the junior game, which I think would be really sad and really, really selfish.
It's interesting that you say that, obviously, because I know you were expecting this question from me. We had a laugh and joke on WhatsApp and so on. But if a rival popped up, would you accept the competition, or would you?
I love competition. When the bullets are flying, I'm absolutely at my best. I love it. I thrive on it. But I don't like, or I can't have respect for, is copycats. If you're going to be original and be a competitor, then great, let's go for it. But people that copy it. I've been doing this 15 years. Sacrificed a career, kids' birthdays, and traveling around the world, promoting junior darts on my own at my own expense for so long. And then what does really get me back up is people just copying what I've done. So I've got no competition's great. I mean, it's healthy, but just try and do your own thing.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting point, because we notice it more and more in the social media world. Everything gets publicised, so you see it more and more. This may have always been there, but in this world that we live in now, that
there's so much goes on in the background, Phil. You wouldn't believe it. And people watching this at home don't understand. Every day someone's trying to attack what we've built. Literally, and it comes from ex-pros to organisations or manufacturers. Every day is a constant battle. Every day, people just trying to steal a bit of what we built, which again, is for us, I suppose, is a compliment in a way, but it does piss me off a bit. Yeah.
It's interesting to see, and I like your honesty in all this, because we're seeing it in other sports as well, like boxing at the moment with Dana White and jumping into it. So we're seeing it all over the place, that competition in sport I don't think has ever been as big.
No, but we've worked our socks off and to get in the position that we're in. And I don't think anybody has ever said the JDC don't do enough for darts. Yeah. There's not enough opportunities.
Yeah, no,
so why create something new or try to? Why not just get on board with everybody else and just be grateful for the fact that we do exist, and that the infrastructure has been there for the likes of Lulator to succeed.
Yeah, no. Well, on that partnership that you mentioned with the Idiot, how did that come about? And I'm going to say this in the nicest possible way. There's some egos on both sides of the fence, shall we say? So, how did these talks come about, and how did they go? Because let's be fair, neither side would want to give an awful lot, and
to be honest, I was always in my own lane, and that's perhaps one of my gifts, is that I can just concentrate on what I'm doing, and there could be bombs going off behind me, and I'm not aware. And there was a bit of back and forth a few years ago on social media, but again, we're all good people generally. Do you know what I mean? So, and we all want the best outcomes for our own organisations, which is going to naturally, sometimes you're going to disagree on things. But no, I think the olive branch started. I think I've seen that the EDO, and don't forget that a lot of these players that play on the JDC played EDO as well. And I noticed they were struggling to get their international team somewhere to a tournament last year somewhere. I can't remember where it was. And they were doing fundraising, and they needed £1,500. So I donated out of my own pocket £1,500 so they could pay for their players to go to compete in this tournament. So I think that's where it started, and I think they realised that perhaps I wasn't the bad guy, and then that's what maybe softened things up a little bit. And then we reached out to Dieter Hedman and said, can we get together? Obviously, we're building this place as well. So we want this to become synonymous with junior darts and a home for everybody, not just for the JDC kids, because a lot of the kids play on both tours anyway. So that's where it kind of started. And when we met up with Dieter and Paul James, we didn't know how it was going to go. I said this could be the quickest meeting we've ever had, or we could get on. And we got on like house on fire, and they've been great to work with.
I think it's good that there is these branches and paths being built between organisations, and look, in an ideal world it'd be great if everyone got on with everyone. Never going to happen in the world we live in, but we can all dream. How did this place come about? We're sat here in Hangar 61. I know there's building work still going on and whatever. We've seen the JDC Power League happen here and so on. How did this all come about? When did this dream start becoming a reality?
Well, we've been looking for our own venue for probably 5 or 6 years now, and we've been using Coventry. We kind of outgrew that place, and it wasn't ideal. It was over 2 floors, and it was just, we had to share the building with, the bingo happening on night time. We had to be out by certain times, and we couldn't always get the dates that we wanted. So we were looking for our own place, and this came up on social media. A friend of mine showed me it, and I played county darts here on that stage behind 20 odd years ago. So I'm used to the venue. It's all on one floor. The motorway is literally a minute away. There's 7 or 8 hotels all around the place. There's a massive car park on the side. It needed a lot of work, and the JDC have invested a hell of a lot of money into this building. But as an investment, I think it was a sound one. And we're just we've built a world-class facility for junior dart players, hopefully for many decades. Oh no,
it looks absolutely incredible. All the facilities that a junior player could want. What's the end goal for this place, though? Do you want this to be the world hub almost for junior darts?
I think so. I think we're the world leaders at junior darts. So if this is our home, hopefully that, just by virtue that kind of happens. But obviously you've got all the EDO events being played here now, all the JDC events. We're doing loads of stuff with the girls as well. So I think this will become every weekend pretty much. I think we've booked out 40 odd weekends already next year, or for the next 12 months. So every weekend there'll be something going on here at junior level.
No, look, it's something to be proud of, because it looks incredible, and we saw the first event streamed again, which is a massive step forward again with world class facilities for the junior players to showcase themselves on streams and so on.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's really important, and I think it gets overlooked at times, the work that goes in behind that, and giving these kids the opportunity to play on a stream. And I remember when I was a pro playing, that I was great on the floor. Put me on TV, I'd shit myself. So because I just wasn't used to play in front of a camera. But whether you're playing in front of a webcam, a camera like this, a stream, or on TV, a camera's a camera.
Yeah.
And the only person you're really trying to impress is your mates at home, really. So it doesn't. Yeah. So when you get used to playing in front of that camera, it helps you so much. And also, of course, the added ability of we do a lot of media training with the players, and we give them interviews after. And so again, that for me, I was always really nervous about doing interviews after the game because I wasn't used to doing it. So I think when it comes to say Luke, when he made his World Championship debut, a few years back, the world thought it was his debut at Ali Pali. Now, that's probably the fourth time he played on that stage due to the pathways that JDC create and the relationship we have with the PDC. That all of our sort of pros, all of our finals are played on PDC stages behind closed doors. So the lights, the heat, the interviews, all that stuff is like second nature to the kids these days. So again, that's another sort of thing that goes, I think, gets overlooked.
With your continued relationship with the PDC, obviously we've got the JDC World Championship, the Junior Winmore World Masters. Are we, or has there even been talk, or is it not even been on the radar yet? Are we going to get a JDC match play, a JDC Grand Prix, and so on? Are we close, or is there even been talks of almost mirroring the PDC majors to the JDCs?
We have discussed that internally. We've not spoken to the PDC about that yet. I don't think they step on away. They've been so supportive to us, and it continued to be. Actually, we've just renewed our deal with them as well. So that gives us the exclusive rights to having our finals on the PDC stage. And yeah, I mean, for every kid, it's the holy grail is to play on the PDC stages, and we get to use every stage throughout the year, and for one of our finals, whether it's a Vault final or World Masters or whatever. So yeah, having that pathway is vitally important, and it's been a key part of our success. So
you said you've mentioned it internally. How far down are those plans to presenting then? Because
no, we're not close. We're not close.
I'm just thinking the JDC match play, for argument's sake, at the Winter Gardens would be an incredible feat. It's perfect. Yeah. It's in the summer holidays and so on.
I get it. I mean, the Grand Prix, the double start and stuff.
Everything kind of aligns.
Yeah. No, I think it's may have highlighted it. We might have to present it, but we'll see what happens. But I don't think they'd be against it. They're happy for us to use the stages, as long as it's an inclusive event. So it's got to be open to everybody.
Look, the landscape of junior darts, we know it's great here, great in Europe. We've seen you in China, Gibraltar, Bahrain, and so on. One area that I don't know how close we are to breaking it because it's massive, but if we can for the sport, it's huge, is North America.
Yeah.
Now, I know obviously Peter and Anthony at CDC speak massively of trying to help, but they involved with you guys as well. How do we get a foothold in America and get juniors playing darts, competing against football, basketball, baseball, and so on? What's the blueprint? Because if we can crack that, then it's a whole new landscape.
We've proven the blueprint here. I just don't think that people from other nations typically listen to us very much or very, very well. I think they'd be sort of doing themselves a favour because whatever they've been doing for the last 10, 15 years hasn't worked. So it needs a radical change and something new. We are working with a few people in North America now. I know Winmore and PDC are really keen to get something going over there, and same as us. So yeah, we've got some announcements coming. We've got some good relationships there, which we're hoping to we can share a bit more light on in the coming months. But again, I think things are starting to move slowly. I think I'm a big friend and fan of Peter Satira. I think he's now full time at the CDC. So
yes, yeah.
I'm hoping that's going to sort of that bear some fruit. And yeah, I think again, we're blessed at the fact that we're full time, and sort of Darren's been working for me for 10 years now, I suppose, full time. So that makes things a lot easier. When you're working, you've got a day job, and you're trying to run a national organisation is difficult. So I understand the challenges that they've had, but I do think hopefully it's a new era for North American darts.
Yeah, no, because if we can get that right over there, then it's a whole different ball. It's a whole new ball game.
Yeah. So, but again, you've got Asia and all these other territories. Even in the Middle East, I mean, there's so much darts going on over there that we just don't hear about it, So, scratch beneath the surface. Darts is huge everywhere. Mitchell
Lawrie, a lot of pressure on this young man's shoulders after the 6 month rise that he's had. That he gets compared to Luke Littler, but I love not Luke Littler, I'm Mitchell Lawrie. That's like his stock line, which I love. How exciting is it that you've probably got a year to 18 months left of Mitchell Laurie before he makes that jump that Luke did. How exciting of a prospect is this?
You mentioned Mitchell Laurie, but you can't help but smile when you hear the name. He's such a character, and he's great to have around. He's a lovely kid, amazing family. So you've got a good support network around him. And I just think he's a breath of fresh air for darts. Completely different character to Luke. Luke's quite sort of, insular, keeps himself to himself. Mitch was the opposite. Mitchell Laura's in the room. But no, I think he's going to be great for darts. I think he take it all in his stride, to be honest. I think he's that kind of character. He's so sort of mature for his age. He doesn't stop growing. He must be 6'10" now. I don't know, but he's absolutely massive. But no, but he's a popular lad. He's popular amongst his peers. I did go back 2 or 3 years ago. I did worry about his temperament, but he seems to be on top of that now as well. But I think that's important. I think any sort of genius or anybody who's really, really good has a bit of a side to him that unpredictability, if you like. But I think with Mitchell, that's all in hand now. He just seems to have a great team around him, and I think just watch his space. I think he's going to be a world beater.
Yeah, look, I know he's itching. He can't wait to get to Q School and that already, which is an interesting one because obviously he shot to fame being in the WDF final at 15, but he can't play TV PDC darts till he's 16. That could, you know where I'm going with this. That crossover period, should they be aligned, or is it good the way it is?
I think you've got to be careful in terms of sponsorships and stuff as well. So you can't bite the hand that feeds you. And obviously, a lot of the PDC sponsors are, I don't know, maybe for example, there's Foster's underneath the dartboard on the stage and stuff. So I think you'll be very careful of where you're positioning kids.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. So there's that argument, but another argument is, who doesn't want to see a 14-year-old kid put Gezi Price under pressure on TV?
This is the thing.
I see both sides of it. I see both sides of the argument. Obviously, I'm an advocate for junior darts, but again, the thing is, some kids are ready at the age of 14 to play in the adults games. Yeah. Some kids aren't. So I mean, again, and who decides? So who says, he's 14, he can handle it, he can play. He's 14, he's a little bit shy. Maybe if he loses or Craig got on his back, it might ruin him. So there's a balance to be had. I think 16 is probably about the right age, but I'd love to see a younger kid on the stage giving it to the pros. But that's the way it is. Yeah, no,
it would be interesting to see. But obviously not just Mitchell. How many other hidden gems have you got tucked away, just waiting to come out?
Oh, there's so many, and there's so many personalities. I was worried that we're entering an era of dart players that aren't personalities anymore. But I think we've got that. They're pretty boring. The adults are pretty boring, I think. This current crop. But we've got these kids coming through. They're so charismatic, and they're learning the game together. They're growing up together, and just to see them messing around and being kids, off the hockey. And there's some real big characters and some real talented kids coming through as well.
Steve Brown, the dart player, is that now done? Because every now and then we see you on social. You pick them up, and you go, "Oh, I don't know. Is Steve Brown the player now done? Is this?"
Well, I don't know. Yeah, probably. I mean, where am I going to play? Really, it's just, and I got to be inspired by something. I got to have a goal, and at the moment, I just don't. My goal at the moment is to make the JDC as successful as possible. So, I'm playing once a week, maybe, embarrassing myself a little bit. I'm losing the people I shouldn't lose to. So I kind of fallen out of love with it a little bit playing. But don't get me wrong. If I lost everything tomorrow, and darts is made a way out, I'd be back on a pro tour.
Really?
Yeah.
There's still a glint in that eye, isn't there? A little bit. There's still a glint there. Is there?
No.
Look, but I know you say that junior darts is your thing, and you want to, which I totally get.
Yeah.
However, deep down somewhere, do you still feel there's unfinished business then?
I can't say that I felt like my career was robbed from me. I sacrificed my career for this in the pursuit of this junior darts. So, do I feel like I didn't really achieve my potential? Yeah, really. Do I regret it? No. So it's one of those.
But do you still feel, is there unfinished business?
I don't have many regrets really in life in general, but I never fulfilled my potential on the TV, which is kind of annoying. So I made a lot of TV events. I didn't win many first, second rounds, which I think surprised a lot of people at the time. But I never fulfilled my potential on TV, which is something I'd love to have sort of changed. Maybe one day have a run somewhere, but I think that's behind me now.
Steve, absolute pleasure catching up with you here, mate. Thank you very much for your time. As always, massively appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.
Change your